forecast for the week of September 17th of 2023. Well, we got Mercury going direct. That's good, right? That's a positive. Venus is going direct and she's starting to pick up a little bit of speed. Jupiter's retrograde, but now that we're past, well, it was a good thing that he's stationed. And now that we're past, it doesn't really have a lot going on. We haven't gotten to the eclipses just yet. So yeah, this is a week where we maybe take a little bit of a break. Well, no, let's not take a break. Let's say we can try to look at this as being business as usual a little bit. Well, okay. So we start the week. I talked about this last week, but on the off chance that you weren't around, we start the week early on Sunday morning with Venus square Jupiter. Venus in Leo, actually out in Jupiter's section of Leo. Jupiter in Venus's sign of Taurus. Too much of a good thing is perhaps the most we have to worry about with this. All right, there's a little shift and change that we might want to consider, though. And I hesitate to mention this because I don't know that many people can really think about things in these terms. But before the retrograde, Venus squared Jupiter on June 11th. And during her retrograde, she squared him on August 22nd. So here on Sunday, the 17th of September, and, if you're watching this on Saturday, the 16th, then we could extend this out into the early part of the week. Something that may have begun in early June, or perhaps in the latter part of August, might be kind of, we could be getting to the, let's call it the denouement, the end of the story. Not the end of the story, it's Venus and Jupiter, but it could be that we're getting to sort of the settling down into where things are and what's going to be. So we'll look at that as being, if those dates happen to ring a bell for you, then that would be it. Everybody else, it's just the waxing moon on the weekend, the early weekend, and we have this Venus-Jupiter aspect. I'm liking it. As we get towards midweek, so coloring Sunday, but especially Monday, and exact on Tuesday, lingering on just a little bit to Wednesday, we have the Sun opposite Neptune. Now, Sun-Neptune opposition, well, Sun-Neptune aspects always have a bit of an unrealistic vibe about them. But this is an opposition, and with an opposition, there's always a tendency to project onto others. So we have the sun, the solar principle, right? The king or the queen, and we have Neptune, the god of the seas. And so we have this awkward energy between the two of them, this opposition. I guess we shouldn't call it awkward. So you're liable to see too much or too little in someone. That is, you can, lionize them. You can put them on a pedestal, I think is the term that we used to say. Put them on a pedestal. Or on the other hand, you can demonize them and think that they are absolutely just awful. Well, people are good and people are not so great, but they're probably not as great or as awful as we're likely to see them at the beginning part of this week. Now, it could be people in your life, right? Venus, Jupiter, maybe it's a personal relationship, which, by the way, that Venus, Jupiter aspect is also great for just going out and hanging out with friends and just do what you want to do, having a good time, but socializing. Anyway, then this Neptune Sun aspect is more about taking someone and seeing too much or too little. That could be a personal relationship, but it could also be, well, it could be your boss, could be the employee. It could be somebody on the news. It could be a politician, or it could be a famous person in some other line of work or whatever, that we see too much or too little. I repeat myself a lot, but I'm trying to get the point across over there. So that's an energy that is very strong at the beginning part of the week. Be aware of it. It's more or less benign I mean, if you get yourself all in a twist about some politician or something like that, then you're kind of wasting your energy, but it's not the worst thing. If it's a personal interaction with someone, then you want to be a little bit cool about things because after all, you're seeing things with a fisheye mirror. The sun is in Virgo, right? So a least little speck could become a big thing. That's this interaction because Neptune is in Pisces, the sun is in Virgo. Some little detail, everything is going along fine, and then you're eating raisins with a fork. What's the matter with you? Well, it would probably be more substantial than that, but perhaps not too much more substantial than that. The ability to make mountains out of molehills. So the trigger that gets us to think that someone is so great or so awful could be relatively minor, and it still somehow blows out of proportion. As we move towards Thursday, the sun trines Pluto. Now, the sun is at the end of Virgo. We have a very strong energy here, right? This is the extra Virgo energy trining Pluto. So we have the ability to act. Now, hopefully, we're acting on something better than that Sun Neptune aspect, but this is a fairly constructive aspect. I would say that, remember last week I said the Virgo new moon, that was last Thursday. The Virgo new moon is generally a time to make your to-do list for the end of the year. But I said, wait till this Thursday. Wait till Thursday, the 21st. That is a better time for making your list and putting it into action. So a good strategy when you have things that you want to do, when we're setting intentions and stuff like that, a good strategy is to act. It's great to set intentions. It's great to make a list. I'm great at making lists. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have to do something. If it's a list of chores, a very Virgoan thing, well, then, do a chore. But if it's a grander thing, and we're talking about what has to be accomplished by the end of the year, we're looking to what has to be accomplished by the end of the year. And remember, the end of the year rolls around pretty fast at this point in time. September, we got October, some of November, then, holidays start keep coming in, and then it's like we start looking towards New Year's, and we don't have that big a window of time. So we do have some big projects we want to do. Certainly, if you have any project that you want to launch, you have to consider what time of the year you want to do this. Get going on it. You don't have to do the whole thing at once, but you want to get started on it. You want to move it along a little bit in a real practical way. Pluto's in Capricorn, the sun is in Virgo. These are earth signs. We want to do things in a practical way. We want to get something done. Earth, something tangible. Do something tangible. Something, like have a cup of coffee. No, it's not really tangible. It is. Do something tangible. That's towards the end of the week. Here we go, right? We have up until Tuesday, from like later on Wednesday onwards, we have the Sun Pluto energy carry us right through till Friday and even Saturday. Better end of the week for doing stuff in a routine way, and good for looking towards the bigger picture. And then on Saturday, the 23rd, I'm okay. The sun goes into Libra. Which means that it's the autumnal equinox, or it's the Libra equinox, and the sun will be below the horizon for more than half the day for the next 6 months. It's the beginning of autumn, unless, of course, you live below the equator, unless you're one of the 15% of the population that lives below the equator, in which case it's the beginning of springtime. We're all real happy for you. That's great. But for the rest of us, it's the beginning of autumn, which is it's a nice time. I know it's a nice time, but it leads into winter and so on. We have more night than day. It is the time of year that we associate with, it's Libra is values, right? We harvest in Virgo, remember the goddess with the wheat, and then the sun goes into Libra. Well, what's the value? You bring it to market. What's it worth? You have to sort of figure that kind of thing out. It is an active sign, and that will further along our activity over the course of the next month or so. So again, it's a good time to get going on things if you can, contain your grief at the fact that the sun is now below the horizon for most of the day. It is, I don't know. I'll find out someday. I don't know. But it is the fall of the sun astrologically when the sun goes into Libra. It's in its fall. That's one of the terms we use: exaltation and fall. And it is the fall of the sun. It seems to be the beginning of the fall. It would be an appropriate time to, well, you get the idea. You don't need me to talk about that. So that's this week. Good weekend on the front end. The front end weekend, the 17th, ought to be good. Don't get too excited about things if the drama starts on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Don't get too excited about it. Otherwise, it's fine astrological weather. Actually, that Sun Neptune aspect is great for all kinds of fantasies and any kind of role playing thing or whatever you've got going on. Great for that. Probably be very good for meditation and stuff as well. It may not be the most realistic. It may not be the most realistic air, but it shouldn't really stop us from most things. And then towards the end of the week, it's really just great energy for doing stuff. And then we get to the far weekend, the weekend of the 23rd and 24th. Good stuff. Good stuff coming up. Next week is going to be quite active, but when we're going to talk about that.